Welcome back.
Welcome back. It's been a while. It's been a month since
Yeah.
we were last on here. The news, it may still be light, but by next week we'll probably have some training camp drama. And then we're a month away. We're less than a month away from the Hall of Fame game. I know it's not
Yep.
considered a real game to most people, but it's football being
It's
played
it's
on a
football
field.
to watch, you know?
So you kind of have to count it. But welcome back. Obviously, I'm Shelby Allen.
I'm Ethan Manjuri.
And this is episode 14 of the Outside the Numbers podcast. We are gonna let's bring us in. I have one headline, and it is that Packers president Mark Murphy is doing an interview this week, and as we know, Hard Knocks, a yearly documentary series that follows training camp, preseason for an NFL team, usually a pretty downtrodden NFL team,
Right.
one that hasn't made the
Great
playoffs in a
program.
little bit, something like that. Excellent program, top notch, great soundtrack, production value, all of that. Well, I tell you what, we don't know who's going to be this year's candidate. Usually they would have chosen by now, but they have not this year because nobody has volunteered. The closest thing we have to an announcement is the Packers president, Mark Murphy, doing an interview this week and just flat out saying, like, I'm really excited to watch the Jets on Hard Knocks this year. Wasn't supposed to do that, I don't imagine.
So I don't know was that a joke? Did he know something?
It didn't
I don't
feel
know.
like a joke.
No, it didn't.
Yeah,
That's why I'm
no.
like, delivery was off. But could be just because he's making a joke at Aaron.
He's just trying to put him in some hot water,
I guess. I don't know. As if a guy needs some more drama. But
Yeah, it truly is my favorite. I just like watching the relationship with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, just kind of like them just hurt each other. It,
yeah,
it brings me joy.
yeah,
Uh,
I
so
can
this is a little bit
imagine
of
it
an
would.
extension of that.
It's fun to watch
Yeah.
as a Saints fan, so I can't imagine as a Cowboys fan, especially you.
But that's literally that's it. That's the news segment. It's hard to really, before we get into the preseason, gauge how all these rookies are going to look. I've been listening a lot lately to some old podcasts where it was a draft preview show from the 2018 draft, right? Where they had Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, and Josh Rosen. And those were the big five.
Yeah, Rosen, dude.
Josh Rosen, and he was the one that people were saying, like, he's almost the surefire past Mayfield. For whatever reason, Mayfield and Darnold were in like a league of their own, which
Hmm.
has played out wonderfully. But Josh Rogan was like the sure bet at 3 before Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And I think that's how it ended up turning out. I think he was the third quarterback selected. But man, listening to the confidence that people in the media had that Mayfield and Darnold, in some order, were surely the best two.
Yeah,
Josh Rosen was like the next great franchise player for the
I think
Cardinals.
he was picked fifth, wasn't he, or sixth? Like he was the
That
sixth
sounds
pick in
right.
the
Yeah.
draft or something like that.
hmm
And that famous quote is like, "There were 5 mistakes made before me," or something like that. And is he even on a team?
I haven't checked in a while. I believe last time I checked, he was like third or fourth string in like Pittsburgh or Minnesota or something. Literally doesn't, I imagine, in a place that wouldn't travel with the team, but just
Right.
like some
Yeah.
fringe backup player. As
Yeah.
of now, I have
It
no
was a
idea.
very, very fast fall. Like he never really. Yeah. I mean, it
I
was
can't remember him
the biggest
playing.
bust. No, I mean it was so immediate, and I knew it was going to happen as soon as he said that. And he just doesn't. He didn't. Yeah, you could kind of just see it in him that it
You could
wasn't.
see the freezing cold takes banner just like hovering
Right.
under under his name as he said it. I mean, it was way too confident. And
Yeah.
he literally said, he was like, "I'm going to bring this city a championship." Yeah, we have not heard from Josh Rosen in a while.
Adrenaline
Meanwhile,
is a hell of a drug.
Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson's league MVP, Josh Allen on the cover of Madden 23 or 24 or whatever they're on now, and then obviously Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. They make this really weird. You almost have to create their own category because they're technically both starters. I think Darnold might. be two behind Purdy, but they're both in a better position than they even should be for how they've played in
Yeah,
recent years.
yeah, I would say so. They are like painfully average in the league.
I know Bayfield had that one moment last year where he went to the Rams and just had like one
Yeah,
of the most glorious drives I've ever seen, and I think we all collectively had a moment of like, oh, is this like a Brett Favre? Is he just like
right,
gonna
right.
sneak over to another team and go on this tear? No, is the
No, it
answer.
wasn't that way.
No, it was it was not. Uh, and then Sam Darnold, same. He almost did the exact same thing, just at a different point in the season. He had the.
Yeah.
It wasn't last year, but with the Panthers the year before, they started 3-0. He was
Uh-huh.
leading the league in rushing touchdowns, just period rushing touchdowns, and he was just
I forgot about that, but yeah, I remember
right
that
a
now. Yeah.
weird era. And then there, so but you can lump them both into about the same spot, fringe starters at best, and they were 1-2. Josh Rosen concretely three, and he's not in the league as far as I know anymore. And then the somehow those other two guys are two of the best, maybe five in the NFL. No, not even maybe two of the best five quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
And even he stumbled out of the gate
Hmm.
a little bit like Rosen. I mean, he was not. It took maybe 2.5 seasons for him to look like he was going to be their franchise guy.
Yeah. And we got to watch on that Madden curse
Yeah.
and hope that
Ugh.
that
They
doesn't
don't
keep.
need it. They don't need the Madden curse. They've
No.
already been stopped in like three straight divisional round games. They don't
Yeah.
need any more
Right.
bad stuff
Maybe they
going
can turn it
towards them.
around. They can reverse the curse.
I mean, historically,
It won't happen.
as a franchise, as a franchise, and as the winning rate of the Madden curse, it does not look promising in a very stacked AFC.
True. Very true.
But all of that, I'm basing this around the idea that we're looking at worst to first candidates for divisions,
Yeah.
and I'll start off with the Texans because they're in a position where if you're going to make any debate, because we're going to do all eight of the division losers, if you're going to make any case that the Texans have a shot at this, it has to be built around C.J. Stroud actually being a ready to play, ready to plug and play quarterback. I mean, if we're picking one of these teams to win the division, or let's rank them 1 through 8. Where would you rank the Houston Texans in terms of their ability relative to these other teams to jump to first?
Ooh. To jump to first, it's down there through 8. They're probably 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
feel comfortable. Yeah, where would you put them if you had to pick one?
probably 7.
Okay, now I'm very curious to see who your 8 is because I think we might have the same, but we'll have to. Time will tell.
Okay. Wait.
I'm not going to jump straight to the team that I think it is. I'll jump over to unless you're extra on your Saints stuff today. How do you feel about the Falcons and their potential to maybe win the NFC South?
I mean, it doesn't look good just based on last season and the moves that they've made in the offseason. I don't feel like are strong enough to turn the team around in any way. I don't think so if we're trying not to mention number 8. I don't think that they're as comparable with number 8 in the Texans. Um,
Tentatively, I'd put them at like a 5 or a 4.
I was thinking 5.
Okay.
5 is where I was. Yeah.
Okay, so we're on this around the same lines. This will come up later as well when we're doing
Okay.
some team over under on wins.
I'm
But the
trying not to
one
give
thing that
away.
you could say is that the Falcons have the easiest strength of schedule in the 2023 season. And sometimes it's not relevant. Sometimes, good teams from last year fall apart and that all becomes a wash.
Yeah, but I
But
mean, my thing with strength of schedule is that I feel like the last few seasons, the teams that like it's not accurate enough preseason calling strength of schedule, because like teams have been changing season to season pretty drastically on a regular basis. Yeah, that doesn't worry me if that's like to say that my division rival has the easiest strength of schedule in the league. That doesn't, you know, I don't feel like that holds a whole lot of water.
Well,
I'm
it
moving my
especially
cane
shouldn't
around.
for you because y'all have the second easiest in New
Yeah,
Orleans.
I mean that's I was
So-
gonna bring that up too. I was like,
like, how much do you
and
want to account this? Yeah. But we're calling them 4 or 5. We're calling the Texans 7. Where
Mhm,
do you want to put the Bears? Keep in mind that Minnesota, to some degree, we think has maybe been exposed. They're losing Dalvin
mhm.
Cook. They had like a horrible score differential despite being 13-4. Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. Aaron Rodgers is no longer in Green Bay.
Yeah, I think they would have to be to keep with my list. They would have to be number 4.
Okay. And likewise, I'll say if I called the Falcons 4, I'll call them 5. So they're
Okay,
they're right in that same ballpark. And I think it is largely just because like I gave the Falcons a bump for the same reason, just that their division opponents are not threatening enough to make it like that unlikely.
true.
So okay. So without I mean this might be it. It really depends. There to me, there are two teams on this list that should slash will likely be in a less likely position than the Texans to jump from worst to first. I'll throw out one of them that I think the Arizona Cardinals.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're a train wreck.
Okay, I'm misunderstanding what you said then.
Oh no, I'm saying they're not
Okay,
going from
gotcha,
worst to first. They're going
gotcha.
from worst to
Staying at
somehow
worst.
maybe even worse. Yeah, in my opinion, I think they might be my 8. They're right there with the Texans or
Okay,
with the Texans for me.
okay. See, my 8 is the Commanders.
Okay, yeah, no, we were gonna get there eventually. Yeah, that was the other team. It was Cardinals
Yeah,
and Commanders. One or both of them have to be below the Texans.
right. Yes, yes, for sure, for sure. And I think it's the Commanders because I don't think they know what's going on at all.
Yeah, for the
If we're
Cardinals, you could say like maybe Kyler Murray will come back from injury and they'll have some sense of direction.
Yeah, they have a little bit of hope at least. The Commanders they didn't even win the trademark for their logo.
They
Like this is like their
might be the Space Commanders by the time we
shambles
find this out.
is a strong understatement. They don't know what they're doing.
And similar to Desmond Ritter, okay, so like it's actually kind of funny to compare them to the Falcons because the Falcons have one of Washington's only successful quarterbacks of like the 2010s, 2020s, Taylor Heineke. And
Hmm.
he's not even supposed to start, but he is on the Falcons. I mean, that was maybe the only like veteran in the quarterback room. I mean, I know Washington picked up Jacoby Brissett, but they're gonna. I mean, okay, it almost feels inevitable that it's gonna be like Sam Howell struggles week 1, struggles week 2. Brissett's in by like week 3, and then it's all downhill. And then Brissett gets injured in like week 10, and we ride out the season with Howell. I can see it all unfolding. They are so, and it's tough because they're wasting a defense. And if you had to
Right.
make a case for it, against the Cardinals, it would be that Washington's defense, to me at least, looks more impressive than
That's
Arizona's.
okay. Yeah. I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah.
They don't, yeah, no, and the receiving room. I think there's a decent case to be made for the Cardinals being 8 because you can at least have like Terry McLaurin, some other guys, just Dotson, a few other like reputable,
Yeah.
usable receivers. Arizona, I can't even. If D Hop is gone, who are their other receivers?
Oh, I'm
Dude, I've
trying to
got no
remember
idea.
like fantasy. Um
I mean, surely they picked up like some middle of the pack guy in the offseason. I mean, you almost just hope for entertainment value, but as far as I know, they're still in
Marquise Brown, Rondale Moore. Those are names that I've heard before. Here's one that I haven't. Greg Dortch.
Okay, that might be the best way that you could describe the Arizona Cardinals roster.
That's the
There's
first
some
team.
names that I've heard before.
That's the first team. We've already run out of
Ooh.
people I've heard before. Okay, wait. Zach
Oh man.
Pascal is on their second team. I've heard that before. I've had him on fantasy.
Heard
Like,
of, but not a lot.
Not a lot. Not in
Okay.
game. I've heard of because of fantasy in like round 200. So
And
that's
if you
not
said
looking
I could
good
have
to
Terry
summarize.
McLaurin or all of those guys, I might just say Terry McLaurin and throw out. I mean, I would rather just fill up the rest with free agents and have Terry McLaurin. So
Yeah.
there's my case for just absolutely burying the Cardinals, as sad as the Commanders are. But our other teams, it's we've got the Browns.
Eh, let's see. I don't know what places I have left really, but I feel like they're probably the out of what's left 3.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's about yeah. Because I'm
And
not
that's
even
about
trying
where
to
I'd
make an
put them
organized
anyway.
list. I feel like because I'm not gonna like print out a graphic or anything. Like I'm just thinking where we think they are. Watson, I think they have a high ceiling just because of Watson. Like he looked horrible, admittedly, but his ceiling as a player is so much higher than Falcons. Desmond
Yeah, and
Ritter,
he had been
you know.
out, so it's
Mhm.
like he's gonna have to get back into it, and that's something you're gonna have to expect. And now having a whole year, like I think you noted in the doc, that like after having time to learn the offense,
Mhm.
it's probably gonna look a little bit better.
Now, I also threw in there is there it feels to me like there's potential that their window is closing, and I'm just saying that because of Nick Chubb. I mean, he's
Hmm.
getting up there. He still feels like he's in his prime, but the running back cliff seems to get younger and younger at this point. I mean, when you start hitting
Yeah,
like 27, 28, it's time to move on for a lot of these teams. So I don't know. That's something to think about with the Browns. Amari Cooper's getting up there. He's the number, I think, number one receiver. I don't think they've picked up anybody that impressive. They got like Elijah Moore, but I don't know. It does feel like this is a kind of a make or break year for them
yeah,
as a
yeah,
franchise, especially for like a coaching staff that made the decision to bring in Watson. This feels like the
right,
first true test of
yeah,
that decision.
because that they caught a lot of heat for that, and they still are more than likely.
Oh yeah,
So
lost a
he's
lot of
got,
fans.
yeah, and him too. So he's got to. They both have to give it everything this season. 'Cause, yeah, I feel like that's a good way to put it. Make or break
And could you
for both
find
of
a
them.
worse year to be in the AFC and be in a make or break position? Because it
No,
feels like everything is stacked in the AFC.
yeah, AFC is
I mean,
loaded.
you've got Lamar with. I'm not even going to talk about Odell Beckham as if that's some type of winning edge. You've got Lamar, you've got the Steelers, whose defense is fantastic, and whose coach always gets them at least to a winning record. And then you've got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and too many names to name, who will probably be in the AFC Championship.
Mm,
That division is going to be fantastic. So no, I it's a nightmare to think about. If you
yeah,
knew maybe in 2018 that you would have Deshaun Watson in this division, you'd feel very good about your odds. And now it's just like there's no way to predict. There's no way to know what
yeah,
he's capable of now.
yeah.
So the last two teams, the Denver Broncos. Break it down.
Uh, Broncos, I want to put at number 2
Okay.
because bringing in, I mean, I'm a little bit biased, but Sean Payton is a good coach. So bringing him in, it's has very high upside. Russell Wilson's bad, and he's gonna be difficult. So I mean, it's gonna
Oh,
be tough. It'll be fun to watch, but I feel like the new coach is a pretty strong, I guess, strong reasoning for why they could go from worst to first this season. But I
and a
don't think
decent
they have.
receiving room.
Yeah, yeah. So they just need to get over that Russell hump, you know?
He's really the weakest point of the team, which is
Yeah,
so crazy to think about for what they gave up for him.
yeah. And where like the narrative behind him throughout his career. Like this is completely opposite of the early half of his career for sure.
Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks you see like Josh Allen, we were just talking about, wait to break out till later in their career. It's feels highly rare that you see like this level of regression.
Yeah.
To me, it has to be mental. Maybe he just doesn't play well at altitude. What could you possibly come up with to give this guy a break? But I feel like we're both going to land on the same team at number one.
Yeah.
Um, it's the New York
The
Jets.
Jets,
I
for
mean,
sure. The addition of Aaron Rodgers is the addition of Aaron Rodgers. He's hyped up getting to a new team. They've got decent receivers for him. Is they have the best chance, and might I might even say it's somewhat likely.
sure. I mean, you've got Madden Curse working on Josh Allen up
Yeah,
in Buffalo.
right.
Bill Belichick has not been able to pull together really anything since Brady left. And the Dolphins are scary. I mean, Dolphins and Bills are the only teams that the Jets have to worry about, and that's a big qualifier. I mean, they are both significant threats, and maybe the Falcons and some other teams don't have teams like that in their division that they have to worry about. But in terms of just like talent on a roster, they've got the highest ceiling. What are you laughing at? Are you
No,
laughing
I
at the
just know
Falcons?
you're taking passive, sneaky jabs. That's fine.
Oh
It's
no,
okay.
yeah, it's in my nature.
It's all right.
All right, so we've got our list just to review: Jets, Broncos, Browns.
Yes.
Who was your number four? Because I'll
Bears,
just put them Bears. Okay, that I'm good with that. Bears at four,
then Falcons.
five, Falcons,
Then
Texans
I
or
had
Commanders.
Cardinals, Texans, Commanders.
Okay, I'll have Texans, Commanders, Cardinals. I'll give
Okay.
the Texans a little bump for the early first round talent. But yeah, let's jump in. I'm actually just going to jump straight to a little episode of NFL Would You Rather. This is a first time segment with us, but we've cooked up a few scenarios, and we're just going to run them past the other one at a time. Would you rather be prompted first or throw out one?
I can throw one out.
All right, fire away.
All right. First one. Would you rather win the Super Bowl followed by a 10-year playoff drought or make the playoffs every year for 10 years but not win the Super Bowl?
I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it so. Can I control the order? Is it literally? It has to be Super Bowl and then a
Yeah.
10-year playoff draft.
Yeah.
Okay, like I
Followed
can't
by.
say like five Super Bowl five
No.
or even. Oh, see if I
No.
could flip it. If I could go 10, but I knew that there was a Super Bowl at the end of it, I could handle that.
Yeah.
Shoot,
See?
dude.
Right? Yeah. Super Bowl first and then 10 years without playoffs.
Okay, no. In this scenario, do I do I go in knowing that I'm gonna like when I choose? Does
Uh huh.
my memory of this decision go away, or do I have to sit there and know that after this?
The
Because if
memory of
I
the
am
decision
aware,
goes away. Memory of the decision goes away. I'm a genie.
then I have to pick the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl. Okay.
I think I have to do it. Yeah. Okay, I'll throw out one for you. Your favorite team
Hmm.
relocates to a Western European nation, but retains its name, or
Whoa.
they move to within say 50 miles of your home, but they're now the Renegades. They've rebranded and are now in your case, Atlanta. They're now the Atlanta Renegades. For these purposes, we could just say they stay in New Orleans because you live close enough. They're the New Orleans Renegades, or they are the the Berlin Saints.
Well, see, if they're staying in New Orleans, I'd probably stay with the city.
Okay,
I'd keep them in New Orleans. But
and there's a big
over,
R on the side of their helmet.
but like, still, um, it's still better than because I would never go to a game,
No,
never like a
but
home game.
you live in Atlanta, so you could get when they play their yearly game in Atlanta, a long commute from Berlin, you could see them there.
Nah, that's
So you're signing up for the New Orleans Renegades?
yeah, I think so.
Wow. Okay, this raises a deeply, some topic that we can dive in on. Like, what represents your team at that point? It's
Well,
Once
it's
these
what does the
players
team? It's what
retire
does
and
no? It's what does the team represent? Because
the city
the team is very representative of the city, especially in New Orleans. It's like especially a big deal there because of Katrina
fascinating.
and all that. It was
Okay, all right,
before
I'll
then,
give you that.
but
I think that was a
recent.
good move.
Oh, that was a good one, dude. That was I wasn't
Thank you.
expecting to be like actually thinking over here. Okay. This one's simple. It's just kind of like a preference thing.
Okay.
Would you rather your team have a top five defense or a top five offense?
Oh, this is interesting. Okay, I'm gonna make this really simple and not overthink it. Because I've lived through so many like dominant Cowboys offenses, I'm gonna say top five defense. I
Okay.
want to
Okay.
see what it's like. I want to, and I got a little glimpse of it last year at points. But I love the idea of just being able to say like the other team has the ball. And in fact, I've there were multiple
Mhm.
points this last year watching the Cowboys where I was more excited to watch them largely when Cooper Rush was quarterback, but when I was like most excited to watch them when the defense was on the field, and
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Okay.
about
Cool.
picking one and committing to it long term, but let's say just for the next
Yeah.
year, I'd
Yeah.
go top five defense.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
All
Cool.
right. So this one's gonna be semi torturous. Okay, are you ready?
Oh God. All right.
All right. Would you rather only be able to watch preseason football for the rest of your life, but it's year round? It's always being played, or spend the next 20 years of your life unable to watch football.
Preseason.
You're taking year round preseason football.
Oh wait, it for the rest of my life, or
It's
wait 20
always
years?
preseason. Yeah. So you go through a 20-year drought and are able to come back to the sport you love, or you've got teams playing every week and it just counts towards a preseason record that never
Never
results in a
matters.
season.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd probably take a 20-year drought, read some books.
Do something like productive.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I might
and then
I think you'd
and then
have
come
to land
back.
there. Yeah.
Oh,
And
that would
I
be
didn't
tough though.
specify like
That would
if it's
suck.
still being played and you could like see statistics and stuff, but you couldn't watch it.
Yeah, can I watch the game flow on
Absolutely.
the
Oh yeah. If you
just
can, then it's almost too easy. So
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Tentatively, I have to say no. But okay. All right. Yeah. Good answer.
Okay. All right. This one, would you rather your team suffer a no-call PI in the NFC Championship game or score only 3 points in the Super Bowl and lose?
Hmm. Now, so this is like a so this is purely
This is
hypothetical.
hypothetical.
This is a totally okay. Because it sounds familiar. I don't know if that. Okay, but no, this is just
No,
like you
it's a
just came up with
hypothetical
this, right?
situation.
So I can't even put a team name to this.
Mm-mm.
Um, I think who's the opponent in this hypothetical scenario in the Super Bowl?
In the
Who
Super
do you lose
Bowl,
to? Yeah.
uh, in this hypothetical, the Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah. No. I think on a basic level, I have to pick the no PI call. I think I'd rather not put up 3 points in the Super Bowl. And Ethan, I tell you this, that is my honest opinion.
Like
If that
actually,
provides any
dude.
consolation, yes.
Okay, that's kind of wild. I wasn't expecting that.
I I could handle a Super Bowl loss. I don't think I could handle a Super Bowl loss where not even a touchdown is scored, especially as a Cowboys fan. Just with all the
Yeah.
drought, and then people could say it's been 30 years since you won a Super Bowl, but it's been 30 years since you've scored a touchdown in a Super Bowl, and it would just become this more
Oh yeah.
elaborately horrible situation. So I can't stomach that idea.
that's fair.
And at this point, I'm
Because that's
used to
yeah,
like
that would be
postseason
bad.
disaster. All right, so I'll close it out with this last question. It's a great question. I will close it out with this final scenario. All right, you can have the next 3 years, you have a 28-year-old Brett Favre as your quarterback. All right. Derek Carr is cut, never able to be re signed. Or you have a 43-year-old Tom Brady on your roster from this November to the end of the postseason, whenever that may be.
So Brady for just before and through the playoffs,
Yep, you get. I mean, basically half the season, November through the end.
or 3 years with a prime Brett Favre?
That's right.
I'm taking 3 years with prime Brett Favre.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's is it at least as close as I was thinking it would be?
It's close. It's close
Because
because
to
that's
me, it
Brady on
almost feels
half a
like a
season.
guarantee. It's like a coin toss whether or not you win that Super Bowl with Brady.
Yeah,
But then you do have to live with the
but
fact that
yeah,
you've won a Super Bowl with Brady.
that and prime time, not prime time, prime Brett Favre for 3 years straight
And he
is,
did win a Super Bowl in
and
his
like
prime, so yeah.
I have to imagine this as New Orleans, right? Because you
Yeah.
said Derek Carr's cut. I feel like New Orleans has a good enough team that with his leadership for 3 straight years in his prime would be dangerous. So
And is that
that
decision being made without even the ability to just throw it in Atlanta's face that you were able
oh,
that you now have their
I
quarterback
didn't even think
dominating the
about that. Yeah, that
yeah
would be even better.
that would just be too
Yeah,
fun. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, all right. Good stuff. We'll bring back Would You Rather. I think I've been
that
inspired.
was
I
fun.
want to find some more scenarios. But this has been episode 14. We will be back next week. Hopefully, we'll have some off seasons, a little drama, a little training camp
Yeah,
news for the masses.
maybe some skirmishes or something.
Oh yeah, joint practices with
Yeah,
like old teammates beating up on each other. Yeah.
those are
Oh, I
always
can't
fun.
wait. That'd be
So much
great
fun.
time.
All right,
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and see you next week.
see y'all.